We're going to move on to this one. Humza Yousaf in The Guardian. What's all this about toxic masculinity? What do you know about this?
Yeah, well, I do know about it because I'm any kind of male thing. It's men in power must take the lead on tackling toxic masculinity, says Humza Yousaf. And he's the head of the SMP, and they're on the way out, I think. I think they're on the way out, possibly. Maybe not. I don't know how entrenched.
No, I doubt it. But, I mean, what's he saying? That he's saying that it's not good enough that... Basically, we can say, oh, it's not all men. Not all men are terrible. That all men collectively have to take responsibility for other men, which is a kind of identitarian position, which does accord with what we know about Humza Yousaf's politics.
What do you consider to be toxic masculinity? If a guy comes into your flat to fix your toilet, is that toxic masculinity?
Well, what I would say is toxic masculinity is the way that the SNP have basically run roughshod over women's rights and have tried to obliterate their single-sex spaces. Why doesn't Humza Yousaf, Francis, deal with the misogyny in his own party first?
Well, here's the interesting thing. I actually think Humza, he has extremist policies, and one of them, there's people going, you can't say that. But here's the point. He was in favour of criminalising speech in people's homes.
Not only was he in favour, he was the Justice Secretary at the time and orchestrated that draconian hate speech bill. So he's an authoritarian.
So you could say something in your living room, in a personal conversation, and it becomes the state's business to investigate and prosecute you.
Yeah. Francis, this was the story we did just before about what about the WhatsApp
groups. But the thing is here, this is why I'd be very nervous about Humza Yousaf, berating other people about toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
You know, before he's saying that people should be effectively criminalised for having an opinion on religious groups.
Yeah.
What about this? Maybe he'll start criminalising people for, I don't know, banter.
He is a complete authoritarian, and it is terrifying that he is in charge of Scotland.
Yeah. And he's
really worrying.
And can I say this? He's a self-admitted misogynist himself.
Did he say that?
He said that. He said, without a doubt, in my younger years, I have told a misogynistic joke at the expense of women. He's a misogynist.
I mean, that's...
I want to know...
It's called his policies, mate.
Yeah, well... What is he... I don't want to get into a fight with the guy.
No, because, of course, all your jokes have been very pure.
If you
suitable for children, I think. Children's parties.
Does that make him a self-admitted misogynist?
Well, in a way, but it's a silly thing to admit if it's just a joke.